Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Renton Reflex. Today, I'm going to talk about what's often been proclaimed as the worst movie of all time, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Its filmmaker, Edward D. Wood Jr., was notorious for having such unorthodox methods of filmmaking, such as almost always using the first take of every scene that he shot, the fact that he gave very little direction to his actors, the fact that he would shoot up to 30 scenes in a single day, and that he often relied on using stock footage to represent ideas that he couldn't shoot himself due to time and budget constraints. He made his movies super fast and super cheap, producing some of the so-called worst films ever made. But let's really see if that's fair with this one. The plot involves this race of aliens that plan to take over the Earth by resurrecting the dead. By doing this, it would distract the human race from creating a bomb that could destroy the entire universe. If the humans refuse to listen, then the aliens will resume with their plan and march their armies of the undead onto all major capitals of the world and take over. This movie contains a huge laundry list of problems, but not in a way that they would be considered insulting nor bring any major displeasure to the viewer. In fact, many of the problems turn out to be rather comical. I'll give you some examples. You have aliens that look exactly like human beings. There are scenes which constantly shift between day and night, resulting in some continuity errors. It has cheap plywood sets that make middle school plays look like professional Broadway shows. It has a repetitive use of stock music and stock footage, and to top it all off, it contains some of the most senseless and witless dialogue ever put to celluloid. I'll never forget this one line in which one of the aliens taunts the humans by saying, you see, your stupid minds, stupid. That line is just so juvenile, it makes me laugh every time. The film also stars Bela Lugosi, who's best known for playing Dracula. Actually, I take it back. It technically stars Bela Lugosi, but he actually died before filming began. Fortunately for Ed Wood, he shot some silent footage of Bela for an unrealized movie production and decided to incorporate these shots into Plan 9 and write a script around it. He also hired his wife's chiropractor to serve as a body double, with the lower half of his face covered with a cape the whole time. Now, with all of this in mind, you might think this all sounds like a terrible mess and not worth the investment. But actually, it kind of is, as it's a fascinating wonder to try to understand what was going through Ed Wood's mind when he put this film together. There seems to be a sense of ingenuity to his incompetence that makes him and his movies rather interesting in a way. So, to summarize, is Plan 9 from Outer Space a bad film? Yes, undoubtedly. Is it the worst ever made? Well, I guess that kind of depends on who you ask. Art can be very subjective, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion of what they consider as the worst movie of all time. In the case of Plan 9, personally, I don't think so. Sure, you're bound to find some kind of flaw in this movie every so often, whether if it's in the writing, the directing, the acting, the editing, or even in the cheap production values. But I think what makes this particular bad movie stand out, among all the others, may have to do with the execution of the mistakes in all the elements combined, making it rather amusing to point out all the flaws and have fun with it. In other words, it's camp. What Ed Wood made is a film that's unlike any other. Some might say that it was his anti-masterpiece, and that he was an anti-genius. Despite having such limited resources as time, budget, and actual creative talent to speak of, Ed Wood created a film that he hoped would be very meaningful and intelligent. Evidently, there is at least some passion and ambition involved, even if it's not done the right way. And to this movie's credit, it does have a little bit of an anti-war message in there. Just a little bit, not that much. Ed Wood should be applauded for even getting this movie made at all, as it goes to show what can happen when a film that's produced super fast and super cheap can ultimately result in becoming one of those quintessential so bad it's good kind of movies. So there's no way this can be the worst movie of all time. In my opinion, I've seen films much, much worse than Plan 9, and I can think of plenty. From a general standpoint, I would rate this film on a scale between 1 and 10 a 3.5, meaning that it's terribly lame. But on a so bad it's good scale, also ranging between 1 and 10, it gets a 9. It's that good, in a reverse sense of the word. So I say check it out and judge for yourself. If you do decide to check it out, I strongly recommend that you watch it with the RiffTrax commentary in the background. Not only does it make the movie more watchable, but it also makes it even funnier for what it is. And that, ladies and gentlemen, has been my review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.